This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you've been watching social media over the last couple of days, you've probably seen footage of a tender on the rocks in St. Bart's. Now the vessel was apparently travelling at speed when it crashed onto the rocks on the 21st of December. The incident happened in the early evening hours at a place called Case, I believe it's pronounced. I probably butchered that. The tender, which is about 15 meters long, is said to be the tender for the super yacht motor yacht Loon. Now we've not been able to confirm that at the moment, but that's what quite a number of people have said based on looking at the tender that they have on their YouTube channel and the tender in the accident. Now, we believe there were 11 people on board, 11 occupants. Some of the news reports have said 11 crew, but it's unlikely that it was full of. It's possible it was full of crew, but I think it's more likely that there was a crew member driving and then guests in the vessel. It is a very busy charter yacht. According to the Journal de St. Barth website, they spoke to several eyewitnesses who suggested a party atmosphere on board the vessel. Now, obviously, that's just based on perception of the people watching the boat moving. Usually you'll have guests sitting on board and a pilot who's driving, who's obviously paying a lot of attention to what he's doing. But that's what people have said who witnessed the vessel earlier that evening. They said the boat's pilot was described as being in a playful mood on a video filmed from the beach of St. John and was observed making jerky movements, hitting buoys as he approached the beach to collect the guest who was described as being left behind. Now, people who lived nearby to when they heard the vessel crash onto the rocks, headed down there, and they found the occupants of the damaged tender still in their swimming gear, disorientated and sitting nearby the vessel. Now, the report on the website said that there were 5 slightly injured, with one of the passengers who was ejected from the vessel when it ran aground with more serious injuries, mainly to her face. Now, some of the injured were taken to the hospital on the island, and the hospital said that they had to recall the medical teams because it was 1 o'clock in the morning by the time they arrived. This happened earlier on in the evening. The female who was injured, they said she's got serious facial injuries, and she's actually been transferred to a hospital in Miami by a medical plane on Sunday. Now, they said the occupants of the vessel were subjected to alcohol and drug screening tests. However, according to their information, one person refused to undergo the toxicology test. Now, the gendarmerie have opened an investigation into the cause of the accident. So hopefully everyone will get better. Now, if you know if this vessel is connected to Motor Yacht Loon, please let us know. We've tried to contact them, not had any reply. All right, we'll move on to the next story. A 31-meter yacht caught fire in Puerto Soto Grande on the 16th of December. The boat was undergoing maintenance at the time. It was out of the water when the incident occurred. Now, the yacht's name is Elysium, and it was built by Sanlorenzo in 2010, we believe. Now, apparently the people working at the facility, not on the boat, but in the facility, noticed smoke billowing from the vessel around 18:30 hours or 6:30 p.m. Local time, and they called emergency services in, who evacuated the area. Now, apparently there was nobody working on board the yacht at the time. 6:30 p.m. You know, if it's in a dry dock, then usually people will leave at that time. I would imagine there would have been some crew. Maybe they weren't staying on board and they were staying in hotels. Either way, there was nobody on board at the time, we believe. The police evacuated the marina and some restaurants that were nearby whilst they fought the fire to prevent people getting smoking inhalation, etc. Now, the fire burned for almost 12 hours. It wasn't extinguished until around 5 a.m. the following morning. Now, like I said, there doesn't appear to have been any people on board at the time, and there's no known cause for the fire, but there's an investigation underway. Now, what I would say is, because it's on the hard like this, having worked on it, it would be interesting to find out if there was any hot work going on, any welding going on earlier in the day, because this is a common occurrence. This is, well, let's say it's the most common cause of fires like this when a vessel is out of the water, is usually when they've been doing some sort of work on the boat, welding wise. Okay, we'll move on to the next story. Now, if I cast your mind back about 5 months, you might remember a story about a Fijian naval vessel running aground in a place called Fulaga Passage. As a result of the incident, the vessel was put out of commission and meant the Fijian Navy were down one vessel. Now, because of this, the Fijians were gifted yet another vessel by the Australian Navy, and they called this one the RFNS Timo, and sailed by the Fiji military to Wallow Bay Navy Pier. So they went to Australia, picked up the vessel, sailed it back to Fiji. Now, unfortunately, the new vessel crashed whilst docking in this area. The new ship sustained minor damage to its port side above the waterline during mooring operations on Thursday. Now, the commander of the Republic of Fiji's Navy, Commodore Humphrey Tawaki, told the Fijian Sun that the incident was caused by a combination of gusty winds and confined docking space with limited clearance due to commercial vessels in the area. However, the Fiji Sun newspaper reports that several crew members were allegedly intoxicated during the incident. Now, it is Christmas. As a result of this, the Commodore said that in line with our commitment to accountability, individuals found to have engaged in alleged unprofessional conduct during the incident have been detained, and a formal investigation is underway to ascertain the full circumstances and address any shortcomings, the Commodore said. Within 24 hours of the incident, Navy engineers conducted a thorough assessment and began repairs, which are now nearly complete. He said, additionally, we are reviewing the operational protocols and crew training to strengthen our procedures and prevent future incidents. This incident serves as a reminder of the complexities of maritime operations and the need for continuous improvements in training, professionalism, and discipline. There you go. All right, guys, we've got a couple more quick updates before we go. In the last video, I mentioned that motor yacht Nord had left Dubai and promptly switched off at AIS. However, she had Maldives as her destination. And I said, one thing can be certain, the vessel's not going to the Maldives. Because over the last 2 years, wherever the vessel said it was heading, South Africa, remember that story from 2023, I think it was, they said they put in an address, a destination, and then they go somewhere else. And so I said, one thing you can be sure of, they're not going to the Maldives. Well, they proved me wrong. They actually arrived in the Maldives and switched on the AIS. Can you believe it? You know, it's almost like it was an optional thing to switch on your AIS. Anyway, they arrived in the Maldives. And like I said, the first time in 2 years, they've actually switched it on while they've been there. Now, the vessel is a massive 142-metre yacht owned by Alexei Mordozhov, as you know, and has been dodging Western sanctions since Russia invaded Ukraine. Now, the vessel has made several trips from where it headed out to Vladivostok at the beginning of the war, and since then it's headed back a few times, and it's gone through past Singapore into the Indian Ocean, then disappeared to Maldives, Seychelles, and then up to Dubai, and they did that again this year. So interesting that the destination in the AIS was actually the place they were going, which is quite shocking. And one last story before we go. Motor yacht Cloudbreak has moored in Cape Town. The sanctioned Russian billionaire's superyacht is back in Cape Town. It's not the first time she's been there of recent times at the V&A waterfront. The Russian-owned yacht Cloudbreak has been docked in Cape Town's harbour there for a couple of days now, I think. The owner is the Russian businessman Alexander Svetgatov, who currently is sanctioned by the US and the EU as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, Donald Cow, who is the spokesperson for the V&A waterfront, commented that on CapetownEtc.com that the South Africa is a member of the BRICS, and as such, no sanctions have been placed on the arrival of Russian-owned vessels in South Africa. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. A little bit different background right now, as you can see. So a little bit different. I don't have my some of my equipment with me as well, so it might be a little bit rough around the edges until I get used to it. Anyway, guys, be sure to check us out on patreon.com. Be sure to vote in the poll that is up for Best Super Yacht of 2024, Best New Super Yacht, and the Super Yacht of the Year award for 2024. They are now on our YouTube page. Already quite a lot of people have voted, so be sure to check that out. Get your votes in. That will close around, I think, the 26th of December, and then we'll bring out the results on the 28th of December. So make sure to get voting. Like I said, check us out on patreon.com/eSysman for a lot of extra videos and behind the scenes stuff as well. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.